From the far-out free-loving 60s to the groovy disco of the 70s and even the big hair 80s. 106.3 FM and 1240 AM The Brew plays only classic hits. KOKL, Okmulgee, Oklahoma.
SJ, welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. That's Jay Stongo, Gary Fife, Jahu Jifkidos, Mvskoke Radio, Mabo Hedge to Wedgekis. Welcome to our program here on this chilly but beautiful Oklahoma. Yeah, it's in Oklahoma. Okmulgee morning here. We bring you another edition of our program. A couple of things we'll be sharing today. We have our reporter Braden Harper in studio today, and he's getting more into the radio business, which is a good sign for me, so I can actually take a breath and kind of sit down, take it easy, and say, you worry about it. So he's in here. He's done a thing on special national project that he's been working with, and has some interesting material about native foods in preparation. So he'll be sharing that, and we'll talk to him about his work there and whatever else they've got coming up. And in the second portion of our program, we have the holiday season in mind. Everyone's trying to do fundraisers and things to help kids who may not be as fortunate as the rest of us. And so we've got the Mvskoke Riders getting ready to take off on their annual motorcycle run to collect toys for those kids. And we'll be speaking with the coordinator for that little effort later on in the program. But first of all, welcome, Braden. We appreciate you coming in and bringing your stuff there.
Thank you, Gary. It's an honor to be here as always.
Honor. Yeah, we'll fix that. The project you've been working on. First of all, let's find out what that is. It's connected with National Public Radio. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So the project that the audio story that we are about to listen to here was produced through NPR, National Public Radio's Next Generation Radio Workshop. It's basically a 5-day training workshop for aspiring journalists and students or early career journalists. And we basically are paired with a mentor, and we produce a story on several different platforms, but the main platform was the radio.
And you chose what?
Yes, so my topic was traditional foods, and the person that I interviewed for this story was Miss Trisha Fields, who owns the Autumn Star Catering. She's a Mvskoke citizen, and you can find her at various events catering all sorts of things across the reservation.
And so in producing this particular piece, what kind of things were you concentrating on? What did you want to get out of that story?
Yeah, so in the piece, I was invited to go attend a hog fry in Catoosa. That was actually being hosted by the Cherokee Nation. A hog fry is a traditional get-together where they fry hog meat, they fix other foods serve other foods like fry bread, grape dumplings, foods that we're very familiar with here on the Mvskoke reservation. And basically, I just wanted to explore all of the foods, the traditional foods that we enjoy here in the communities and that are still being served today. That our ancestors and the generations before us have also enjoyed.
Nothing from Sonic.
Unfortunately, no burgers from Sonic.
Oh boy, that was such a funny part of reservation dogs. A chance to give your audience a bit of insight on these foods must have been fun. Obviously, it's always work, but I don't know. Did you enjoy it first of all?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Did you get hungry?
Oh yes. Yes. I also got to, of course, sample, a little bit of Trisha's foods too. She's very generous, and you can't go to Hog Fry and leave hungry, Gary. It's tradition.
Yes, it's a tradition to have greasy lips when you go. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and share your piece. You want to introduce it for us?
Yes, absolutely. So this is the traditional food story about Trisha Fields, and yeah, here we go.
Hog fry is a traditional way of cooking for several tribes. It's a community event where a hog is butchered for a special occasion, whether it's a celebration, a funeral, or just a celebratory time. Trisha Fields, Alexander, Jahojevgaros, Imidalegida, Kacholgidos. My name is Trisha Fields Alexander, and I am of the Tiger Clan, or Panther Clan, from my mother's side. I am enrolled in Mvskoke Creek. My ceremonial ground is Polecat, or Kellyville. I live in Glenpool, Oklahoma, and I own Autumn Star Catering, where I specialize in traditional native foods. I had a need for money while still being able to be a stay-at-home mother to my children. There's all kinds of foods that are traditional: blue corn bread, blue corn cookies, blue corn drink, fried corn, roasted corn, beans and dumplings, squash, watermelon, different salads. People don't often think of salads, but of course, we didn't always have the luxury of having meat, so we ate a lot of vegetables. The diet of the Native American people has changed since contact in a detrimental way, in that we ate for a long time as survival, and we were not able to be selective of what we ate. We ate what we were lucky to be given, because we were forced into forts and reservations. So we also lost a lot of our traditional ways of life, such as gardening, foraging. Native people experience food insecurity in several ways. One, with most of our people living in or along poverty line, many of our people rely on commodities or the USDA to have food, or they qualify and benefit from SNAP food benefits. Sometimes a lot of people live in remote areas where there's not a store nearby, or there's only gas stations nearby. To know that hunting is also a tribal sovereignty and also a cultural practice in itself, to know where to hunt, to know how to hunt, to know what to hunt. My dad is a hunter, and I'm very proud of him, and I'm very thankful to be his daughter in that he has that knowledge. We have land that he goes out and hunts on, that my uncles have all hunted with him. His friends have hunted with him. I have. My son has. My cousins, in that he has that knowledge and the patience to go out and to know what to do with the animal afterwards. There's venison, like venison roast, backstrap. You can use the backstrap. That's the best part of it. A lot of everybody has heard about backstrap because of reservation dogs, but it is the best part of it. You can make the most flavorful, softest roast out of that. What makes me so passionate about serving the traditional foods that I serve is it brings me closer to the community that I live in and that I serve. It makes me feel good to bring happiness to other people that eat my food. It brings me great joy to feel connected to my past from the people that taught me how to cook or that cooked for me.
Well, that was an interesting trip into the kitchen there. How long did it take you to produce that piece?
Yeah, so this piece was produced about over the course of a week. The hog fry was on a Saturday, and then of course later on interviewed Trisha, and then just we had the 5-day workshop over at NPR's affiliate in Oklahoma City, KOSU.
Mm-hmm. Now the chance to work with these professionals there. I think it's a real opportunity for kind of a two-way educational process. Now, they know the radio business, obviously, but did you educate them about a bit of Native culture there? I mean, did they learn something in that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So this workshop in particular was an indigenous centered workshop. Although it is hosted across the country, and they have several other next generation radio workshops, this one was indigenous focused, and it was also a collaboration through NAJA, the Native American Journalist Association. So yes, you're right. You're absolutely correct. It was a two-way educational experience for everyone. The professional journalist that works for NPR that I was my mentor. Her name is Alison Herrera, and she is the indigenous reporter for KOSU. And she lives here in Oklahoma. So she's also Native American herself, and she knows a little bit about Native culture and the tribes, and she's very familiar with the. I believe she's worked with us here before at the Mvskoke Media. But it was and for me as well, it was just a great experience to work with professional photojournalists, editors, just people out there on the out from the West Coast and the East Coast. So, but they were all just, wonderful people, true professionals, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity so that I could take what I learned there and bring it here to Okmulgee.
Well, when we hear that kind of thing, I'm always, encouraged and heartened by young people learning these skills and managing to retain their identity and cultural importance. And I always felt like we get a better person or a better reporter in the process. And, it churns out some person who can do the job, do it well, but yet can share some insight into Native culture, whatever it might be. Now, with something like this hog fry, I've always associated that with the Cherokees, and attended a few of them myself too. And that kind of food is always something that marks them, I think. No, I don't know. Did you get that kind of feeling? I mean, did you take that into the story? I mean, that little bit of insight that you're going to get to share? I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, yes, you're correct. Of course, hog fries are more of a, Cherokee Nation tradition that they do, but of course there are, lots of things that, in terms of lots of things that kind of blend together in terms of the foods that are served, and also just the general, the event. The hog fry as an event, of course, is very similar to other things that we do here in the Mvskoke Nation. Maybe we don't do exactly that, but you have these communities coming together for events, and you bring the whole family and you see your friends, and you just get to eat delicious food together and have a good time. Softy, yes, and I think it's things like backstrap and venison and fry bread, that's seen across, several different tribes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it was very important to, I did think it was important in this story to differentiate, this hog fry, this is Cherokee, obviously Trisha Fields, she's a Mvskoke citizen, but she's also has a lot of other ancestry, other tribal ancestry as well. But at the same time, this is us. This is what we do. This is how we fellowship in community together.
That was kind of fun hearing that. Some Mvskoke women's during this Cherokee meal. What was that event all about? Why did they put it on? Do you recall?
Yes. So the event was hosted by a couple of council members from the Cherokee Nation. Unfortunately, the only name that comes to mind is Danny Callison. Mm-hmm. He's a councilman for the Cherokee Nation, and that's just a thing that the hog fries they host every so often. And it was free, open to the community, and Tricia was there. She brought. She didn't do the hog fry meat herself, but she brought grape dumplings and fry bread and beans and all that great stuff.
Now, did you get a chance to chat with Tricia and kind of find out who she was and a little bit of her background?
Yeah, so Tricia Fields is a Mvskoke citizen, and she works in the behavioral health department. She's the director of the youth wellness program, and she also owns Autumn Star Catering that's here in, I believe it's located out of Glenpool. Mm-hmm. And they host she caters events all across Mvskoke Nation, the Cherokee Nation. They've done several different cultural events, and they've catered office parties, and she makes pretty much everything. And not only that, but she is a very talented chef, and she loves it's inspiring to hear her talk about just how much she loves cooking and cooking for others, and just making people smile.
Oh, that's easy to do with a nice hot meal. I presume she'll be kind of busy during these holiday periods. Thanksgiving is behind us, but Christmas is a huge one there too. Now, as you've become, a real important part of our staff, and done a lot of different things in the journalism field, I'm always curious about reporters' opinions about the medium of radio and how it can best serve our own people. And so, did you ever think about it? I mean, did you ever have any thoughts about where we fit in there?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's radio, is a very important piece of media. It's special, it's unique, in that we're able to broadcast information. And I know that you've worked really hard to build up this program to what it is today in terms of offering. We talked a little bit here before the show and just about how we want to have a little bit of everything. We want to be informational. We want to do focus on issues that are affecting our people here in the tribe. We want to focus on we want to promote events and hopefully encourage people to come out to gather in community and fellowship, because us Mvskokes, we love to talk, and we love to, as our second chief Del Beaver always says, we love chatting and drinking coffee together, I think it is very important, and just as much as the paper, just as much as YouTube or any other medium, it plays a huge role here at in our department.
Right. Let's mention Jared Moore and his Live Vision.
Oh yes, of course. Yes.
He's played a real important part in this show and supplying us. As we continue to grow and serve our tribe, do you have any ideas about future stories that you might want to be working on, or things that perhaps our department can pick up on at some point? I mean, yes, personally.
Oh, absolutely. I think we do a really solid job of covering everything here on the reservation, just in Mvskoke Nation. I think that, we have, like you said, a little bit of everything. We cover important, harder to talk about subjects, and we also cover lighter subjects, which I think is a really good variety. I mean, honestly, I would like to see more coverage on just Native American topics in general, just kind of, like big headline news that's coming out. I do apologize, I forgot the names here, but I believe that there will be a couple, they just announced that they're putting a couple more Native Americans on the dollar coin. I believe they were Native American ballerinas, but I unfortunately forgot their names. You may know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. We spoke with the Historical Society about those folks a little while ago. Well, that's important because if you don't mix it up like that and give them something fun to listen to, it's just dull radio. Why spend the time and the effort and the money to produce a show if it isn't going to attract listeners? And to do that, you've got to, serve them on so many topics like this. Like, hog fry is a wonderful topic. We're probably going to revisit that one as the seasons go on and other things. And of course, we've got lots of fun things coming up for this Christmas holiday season, including the biker ride we'll be talking about later. But as you've been with the department for how long now?
I think this upcoming December will be marking about 8 months.
About 8 months, yeah. Well, I don't mind saying that you've been a real addition to our crew. I mean, I lent another facet of professionalism, and I'm not going to pat you on the back too much and sound like I'm, doing a little brown nose in there. But in the time that you've been working with us, I'm interested in what you think about our mission and how our crew is performing and the products that we put out. I mean, you've got a different set of eyes on it. What do you think?
Yeah, so I really like our vision. Just, I think first and foremost is serving our people, giving them useful information that they can use, telling stories about people that are making significant contributions to the tribe, to, just our people. I really like how, there's just been so many opportunities here to produce in, radio, print, web, social media, visual things like on the YouTube show. I'm just incredibly blessed to be working here. I think the creator, opened this position up just for me. It really feels like it, and it just, not to be too mushy gushy about it, but it's just been a really wonderful experience, and I've learned so much here in the past 8 months, and also everyone here and at Mvskoke Nation as well. It's been a lot of fun to work with.
What about the cultural end of it? I'm not too familiar with your background and relationship with the Mvskoke people, but has it been educational? I mean, have you picked up a lot about our people and culture and language and religion and fun stuff?
Oh, absolutely. It's been a crash course in Mvskoke culture. Unfortunately, I'm what you might describe more as an urban Indian. I grew up in Tulsa, and
so did I.
Well, not knocking any of our Mvskoke citizens in Tulsa, but
I can think of a few I'd knock. Anyway.
Yeah, but no, it has been a great learning experience, and I continue to learn more and more every day, and it's been a real blessing.
Well, while we're getting a chance to kind of let our hair down and chat a little bit, your subject here, your interview subject.
Tricia?
Yeah, thank you. I drew a complete old man blank here for a second. She's got a lot of other irons in the fire. I understand she's got some other events coming up.
Yeah, she sure does. She has a couple of annual Christmas markets that she is, her business will be hosting here soon. There's one that will be at the Glenpool Conference Center. That'll be this upcoming Saturday, December the 3rd. And then she's got another one on the Saturday after that. That'll be December the 10th, and that will be in Tulsa at the Will Rogers Methodist Church. And these events will be running from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and they're going to have a ton of fun stuff to do. They're going to have an art market, a lot of beadwork. There's going to be music. There's going to be Indian tacos. She's going to be serving food herself. So, if you are really hungry from today's story, this will be a really good opportunity to go out and try some of those foods that we discussed. These are Christmas markets. So, if you want to get a jump start on shopping for the holiday season, this is the perfect opportunity, I would say.
Yeah. I tried to do a little bit of that myself, and of course with our own marketing staff's efforts and the gift shop here at the administration. And I'm giving you a shameless plug here, but hey, folks, if you want to check them out, they've got another sale coming up, by the way.
Oh.
And we have tried to support native businesses as much as possible. And as we look toward this particular season, there's going to be a lot of wonderful opportunities to share these kind of things. And we've got a couple of things in mind for my wife. So, but I won't go any further than that. So she'll have to just wait. Now, as we look around to the holidays, do you think that maybe that's going to have a lot of influence on what you're going to be working on for the next couple weeks here? I mean, more holiday stuff, or are there any serious subjects that just happen to be happening right now, soon?
Yeah, well, there's always serious subjects to discuss. It's funny you actually mentioned that. I was actually thinking about some holiday story ideas here on the drive in to work from Tulsa, and I think it would be really great. I as the next couple weeks, things start winding down a bit. As we all start, preparing for Christmas and, anticipating spending time with family. But I think I would really like to go out and just kind of collect some, we call them box pops, but, just little short sound bites from people and asking them about, their earliest Christmas memories, or what are their favorite Christmas memories, or what it was like with their, grandparents and parents, and, or, what kind of traditions do they do today, certainly.
That sounds remarkably like a piece I did about 3 years ago. I went to the elders' Christmas dinner and did exactly that. Just walk around and say, "What do you remember?" And it was always usually, we were at a church and they had the service there, and we had time for the little kids and a little bag of toys and candy. We always got that hard candy that was shaped like a ribbon.
Yeah.
It felt like it was going to break your teeth, and get stuck with trying. And apples, we always tried to trade those because we wanted candy. But in the process there, you got a lot of wonderful memories of fellowship there with those communities and those people that happens. You might want to say once a year or something like that, but it does happen during that season. And they were talking about sitting down and seeing people they hadn't seen. And one guy talked to me and told me that when he was a kid, his church had a Santa that spoke Creek. And
wow.
Forgive me, I'm still a beginner as far as language comes, and I should remember the phrase for Merry Christmas, but I don't off the top of my head, but I'm going to try and fix that before the season's over. But a lot of things like that about, cold snowy days and people coming in like that. And a couple of them remembered coming in by a horse-drawn wagon.
Oh, wow.
And then, the old Model Ts or stuff getting stuck on those back roads and things. As we wrap it up for this segment, and I guess for our holidays, are there things that you hope to share? I mean, let's put it this way: you have a message you want to put out there to somebody?
Not particularly. I mean, just to any citizens out there that are listening, I'm always open to, if anyone has leads, or, particularly right now, any holiday story leads or any events that you think we should be covering, you can always, send me an email, bharper@mvskokemedia.com. Of course, Mvskoke spelled Mvskoke. I'm always excited to, listen and learn more about you, and we'll see maybe we'll get a story cooking. We'll see.
We could. Now, let me shift gears in the last couple seconds here. I wanted to get this question in a little earlier for a more serious discussion, but sometimes it just doesn't work that way. But you came in kind of at the beginning of our freedom of the press era, after our legislature had approved a question for our citizens, and they approved that measure like almost about 3-1, and that the press should have no restraints in coverage of news. Sometimes the bad news if somebody does something stupid, or obviously the good news when we win something that is really important to us. But you've been able to experience kind of things since then, and I'm curious about what our reporters think of being able to do that. In my career, I've run across all kinds of things where tribal council or a chairperson would not allow things to happen. I mean, they obviously killed stories, and our own tribe went through an era of that not too long ago where we had to deal with that sort of stupidity. But what's it like for you now, knowing that you would be able to do anything pretty much that you like, but also the responsibility that you carry? I mean, we're not going to go off, chasing people down and getting even and this kind of thing. I mean, what are your thoughts there on those ideas?
So free press, and that is a very timely issue to talk about. I understand that there's less than, I think, 10 tribal nations that have a free press department within their respective tribes. It's an incredible honor and privilege to work in a department that has the free press privileges. I've met several other peers from other tribes that work in people that work in their other tribes, and they don't have free press. Mm-hmm. And I carry that responsibility. I understand it's quite an honor, and it's something that we shouldn't take for granted. Like you said, it is important, I think, to hold people accountable and to make sure that first and foremost we are serving our people. And yes, we have the freedom, free press, but I obviously think we need to take it seriously, and I think that we do, because we are serving the people. They voice their opinions, and they said we want free press. So like our program, or like our department director, Angel Ellis says, we work for the people, we serve the people, and that's something that I carry with me when I think about stories, and that's something that I try to aim for every day.
Okay, well, that's kind of the principles that all of our staff seem carry and honor. Well, I tell you what, before we start rambling too much, we're going to wrap this up and we'll get on with our second segment here. But Braden, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your piece on cooking and the foods. And you're right, I am getting hungry, so it's time to do that.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
All right, well, we want to thank him again, and we're going to take a short pause here, and we want to invite you to stick around. We're going to be talking about some motorcycle guys who are trying to contribute to the wonderful holiday spirit, so please stay with us here on Mvskoke Radio, here on 1240 The Brew, 106.3, and stick around.
Hear that? That's the sound of Hope being killed by meth. Methamphetamine use is causing huge problems in our community. Hear that? That's the sound of something you can do about it. Events like rodeo, res ball, and family time can help keep kids away from meth.
Talk to your kids. Keep our culture alive. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Learn more at ncai.org.
Who am I? Am I Indian? Just 'cause I'm a girl from the res, don't make things up about me. What if I move away? Then who am I? Some kids try meth just to escape, but then I think about my grandma, my little brother, my beadwork, my poetry, and I think, I like who I am, and I know meth is not for me.
Check out ncai.org, a message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Welcome back to Mvskoke Radio here on The Brew. We have on the line Mr. Paul B. Moore, who's heading up an unusual project here involving motorcycles and gifts for kids on Christmas. Let's do a little chatting with him here. Are you with me there, Paul? Hello, are you there? Okay, let's try this one. Are you with me, Paul? Hello?
Mvskoke,
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Stone Go, yeah. Hey. Okay.
Mvskoke, I'm saying that and I'm repeating it because I would like everybody to know who we are by that name, but also it's helping me learn how to pronounce it, and I hope I'm pronouncing it as best I can. Mvskoke. That stands for Mvskoke Riders. Thank you, Gary, for the opportunity. Go ahead.
We have the chance to hold on a second here. Okay. Sorry there, Paul. We had a visit from our Grover Wind here. Who's got a little bit of a hand in your project. Hi, Grover. Welcome to the studio. We appreciate you dropping by.
Good morning. I just wanted to stop by and support Paul. I don't have any question other than just support for Paul,
Okay, well, support for Paul. Well, Paul, first of all, you've got a project here that we have been fascinated by. Now, it's a motorcycle toy run coming up on the 3rd here, just in a matter of hours, actually. First of all, why don't you give me an idea of what's this project all about?
Sure, and thank you, Gary. I think it's a great opportunity for me to tell you who, and the public, who the Mvskoke Riders are. And we work in concert with Grover there and his veterans office team, but we're a motorcycle group. We are not a club per se. We're an honor riders, and we are a group that rides our motorcycles and supports veterans and the community and their families. That's pretty much our purpose. Last year we organized, and we've only been a group now for a little over a year. But last year we did our first toy ride. And we did that kind of a spur of the moment thing. We'd only been getting together a few times and had met before we had that toy ride. It was a very good success. So we thought we better do it again. It's looked like it's shaping up to be an annual event, and we're really looking forward to it. It's coming up this Saturday. The toy. There's a lot of toy rides going on. A lot of motorcycle toy rides.
Well, just a second here now before we get too far.
You better watch out now. I'll get wind up and I'll just keep talking and you have to roll and stop. Anyway, Gary.
Okay, well, I think I'm a reporter enough to get rude and interrupt. So the idea has been around for a while, and of course, being a reporter, we run across this story around the nation. But what happens during one of these motorcycle toy runs? I mean, what physically takes place?
Well, what happens is we gather the motorcycle riders. We identify a location, and our location this year is going to be the Tulsa Creek Indian Community Center. And we're going to meet there, and we're going to bring toys. And we are also going to meet with anyone else, open to the public. Bring your kids out. Bring them out to see the motorcycles. But if you want to bring a gift, bring it to the Creek Indian Community Center 11 o'clock Saturday morning, and we'll carry those toys on our motorcycles all the way to Okmulgee. So that's what happens. We meet, we gather, and just so happens, riders, we're going to have a meal that's going to be sponsored by the Tulsa Creek Indian Community Center there. So that's another great incentive for us. So we're really looking forward to. Oh, and the other thing is we have some pretty good weather. Well, it's going to be cold, but it's not going to be cold like it was last year. Last year it was very cold, but we're going to have some sunshine, and it's going to be in the 40s or maybe even close to 50. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. And we're going to carry all these toys from the center there, south on 75 to Grover Wynn's office there at the Veterans Office in Okmulgee. And that's where we're going to stage them. We're going to put them there and start collecting toys. I believe Grover's team is going to be have a toy deposit location there at his office or somewhere, and maybe Grover can speak to that. But they'll be collecting toys. I believe it's up to about December the 16th, and then we'll be distributing those toys at an event where we're going to ask all the veterans and their families to come in so we can share it with their children and make it a happier Christmas for everybody. It's been a couple of not bad, but it's been a difficult time the last few years.
Yeah,
and this year, especially with the inflation and all that's going on, people are having a hard time, and we want to be able to reach out and help our community and especially our veterans.
I'm going to presume your participants there, your riders, are going to be bundled up against cold weather, and being out there on a motorcycle, hurtling down the highway at about 60 miles an hour, it's got to be a pretty chilly occasion, eh?
Well, I'm glad you said that, because one of the main things with our events, primary thing is safety. And so absolutely, that's one of the reasons why we meet and gather first, so that we can have an opportunity to have a safety meeting and kind of lay out the plan and the direction and the route, and check your bikes and bundle up and be ready to go. We'll have a chase vehicle also following us, I should say, in the event that we have to help somebody that gets a low tire or they need some help. But yeah, we'll be talking about that with the riders. But yeah, it's going to be when you mix cold weather and wind together. You're talking about wind chill factors, probably 20, maybe 15, 20 degrees less than what the actual temperature is. Yeah, air temperature.
Be depending on your leathers a lot there to keep you from freezing up.
Oh yeah.
Now, for many people who my age or perhaps even older or somewhere around there, we had visions of the Wild Bunch, and you hear Hell's Angels, and if you look out, you can occasionally see somebody like a group called the Mongols and others. Outlaw motorcycle groups. Now, I understand that yours, the Mvskoke Riders, are a much different group.
Oh no, we're going to get really wild, especially this Saturday. We're going to get real wild for a motorcycle ride. I know what you're saying, and I think if you could go look back in history and kind of compare it to what it was back then and what's happening in this generation. As you probably know, the motorcycle community throughout the United States has just exploded over the last 2 decades or so, and so there's not too many people that don't have a motorcycle these days. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of different motorcycle groups, a lot of different motorcycle clubs. You mentioned a couple of them. Some have good reputations, some have indifferent reputations. But you have. I didn't hear you say the Hells Angels, but they're the most iconic and famous, if you will, motorcycle group probably ever in the world. And they're doing a lot of good things today in today's world, today's time. As I was saying earlier, as I was about to mention anyway, there's other toy runs that are going on probably every weekend between now and Christmas, and for the last 3 weeks or so. And there's different motorcycle groups and motorcycle clubs that are sponsoring these toy rides. The toys
Yeah. Let me jump in there for a second. Oh, by the way, I did mention Hell's Angels. I think,
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Anybody who thinks of a motorcycle group will naturally come up with that name, and I understand they're an international group, and as we say, they've had a pretty rough reputation in parts of their history, but I understand they've also participated in toy runs and things like this also. Now, we also have seen a lot of riders out there who are parts of Christian motorcycle groups with the cross of Jesus on their jackets and things like that. Do you have those kind of people joining up? Do they kind of come to pitch in?
You're asking all the right questions, and I hope I'm giving you some good information, because that's another real good question. This is open to anybody. This group, whether it's Christian writers. Again, we're not a club. This is an event, and we're doing it for the purpose of the veterans and for their families, for their children. So, we're welcoming all writers. I don't want to emphasize groups or clubs or anything like this, because that's not what it's for. It's for the good. It's really for the children. And I'm hoping for a great turnout this Saturday. As a matter of fact, last year we had about 20 people, writers, and maybe this year I hope to double that. But it'd be a great opportunity for families to come out to the Indian Center, Creek Indian Center, and just look and see what we're doing. Kids love to look at motorcycles, and then they see the toys, and it's kind of putting everything together leading up to Christmas. So it's just another part of that holiday experience that is going to be very meaningful to them, but as much as it is to us as well as writers and Mvskoke writers to help support our communities. That's what it's really all about.
Now, we usually have visions of guys and women in thick leather and things like that, and they're usually riding Harleys, different models of Harley Davidson motorcycles. But that's not a hard and fast rule, is it? I mean, there's got to be Triumphs and BMWs and some Japanese bikes. And do you have any Indian motorcycles show up?
Hey, Gary, are you sure you're not a motorcycle rider? You're kind of coming out as a motorcycle rider.
Well, you know what? I have to be honest. I've never ridden one in my whole life, but I might change that. You never know. It may change it. But anyway.
You know what? I think let's see here. We've done some parades this past fall. We did the Tulsa parade for the Indian Day, and then we did a couple other parades. And it seems to me that I think that we had one Indian motorcycle show up at one of those events. And for our group, I don't know of anybody that, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, that had an Indian motorcycle, but they're mostly all Harleys. But that's the other thing. Not only is our event and our group open to anybody, to participate, but any kind of motorcycle, as you're suggesting, there are different kinds of motorcycles out there, and there are actual clubs that have membership for a certain kind of a bike, but no, we're not anything like that. Again, this is all open. It's open to everybody. If you got a Kawasaki and crotch rocket, or you're a bagger, or whatever it is that you ride, you're welcome. Bring your electric bike. We'll probably, it's going to be not too long before we use some electric bikes.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that term, crotch rocket, in a long time. Now, when people used to think of groups, visions of choppers, Peter Fonda and Easy Rider with that beautiful bike of his. Are those the kind of things that show up? I mean, what could people see? And here's a question: those long, tall handlebars, we used to know them as ape hangers. Are those still around?
Yeah, ape hangers. Oh, you bet. Oh man. Gosh, where do we want to start? We could talk about all that. I mean, as far as the different styles of bikes, the choppers, you don't see those as much today as you did maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I mean, they're still out there. You probably saw that episode, Orange County Choppers, where they built bikes. that was like in the heyday of the chopper movement, I guess you could say. I mean, they're still out there, but they're not as much as you see the regular street bikes, or the baggers or whatever you want to call them, Harleys, and Harley, Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki. They're all making baggers, or cruisers, the cruiser bikes. There's all different styles, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who we have that shows up, because a lot of these riders, they take pride in their bikes, and you're going to see some really clean, polished, accessorized bikes, and it's come on out, take some pictures. Let your kids bike. They can we'll set them on the bike and take some pictures. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Okay, well, I believe we are going to have a reporter or two out there, so maybe we can get some of them perched on a wonderful iron horse there. As you put this together, particularly your core group of the Mvskoke riders, is there a lot of cultural identity there? Like you spoke to me in the Mvskoke language, in which I was thrilled to hear, but is there much of that there, or people wanting to learn or explore?
Well, I can't really speak for everybody, Gary, but I think the fact that they chose to be a part of this group, and by the name that we have for ourselves, and by the contributions that we're making to the community, you're bringing a very broad perspective of the community, or segment of the community, in that you have people from all walks of life who participate that have motorcycles and like to ride. So you get a large group of variety, and you have those people that are more traditional, and I say more traditional in the sense that they embrace the language, learning the language. I'm not a speaker. I learn, and I'm learning like everybody else. But it's interesting you should ask the question, because if you look at our group, and one of the things that I'm very proud of, there's a lot of native bikers throughout the United States. I used to live in Arizona and New Mexico, and I rode with them a lot out there. And but this is the first tribe in the Mvskoke Nation that I know of that is recognizing a Veterans Honor Rider group, and supporting them. And I don't know of any other tribe that's doing that. So it's like the color guard. The color guards. The Mvskoke Nation just a week ago or so, 2 weeks ago, approved legislation for the women's honor guard, women's veterans honor guard, and so you're starting to see a lot of just a great segment of the community, and you have people that are traditional and Christian, and what makes this so wonderful is that we're all coming together and being part of the same thing. You look at the Veterans Office logo, and it's very inspirational because of what the logo represents. Just from looking at it, and we'll have that logo out there. We can talk about that, when that time should come. But that was designed by Grover and his team, and it represents a lot of the history of the Mvskoke Nation, in particular for our veterans.
Well, I tell you what, we do have Grover sitting here in the studio. Let me ask him a question real quick and put him to work here. Now, with the appearance of this event and its partnership with you, what was your interest in? Why do you do that? Why motorcycles and this kind of thing?
First of all, Gary, thank you very much. Hello, Paul. I'm so proud of Paul, what he's doing for us and what he's been doing. This started out, Gary, several years ago at a funeral for one of our veterans, where we had Patriot Guard escort one of our veterans from here to Fort Gibson. We had about 30 motorcycles, and it's such an honor. It's something that I've wanted to do for a while, and something when we started this thing. Paul was always there with me and had to share the same ideal. It was just to be able to honor our veterans that last mile. We as veterans believe we are not going to leave anybody behind, and so this is our way of making that final journey with them. Paul has been a little humble here. We started last year on this toy drive. We actually gave him 2 weeks to get things together, and Paul, with his hard work that day, we were able to get about 20 bikes, but we had over 100 gifts that we were able to give the veterans. And one of the things Paul and I had talked about on this was, we think about, and I'm not taking anything from anything that's done, because Lord knows I support it all. But one of the things we'd forgotten about veterans. Veterans need help too. Veterans are very proud, especially our Native veterans. They're probably so proud that they won't ask for help sometimes. Before Christmas last year, I had several veterans who would ask me to step outside with them and speak about these toys. And I had one veteran in particular with tears in eyes told me, said, "Mr. Wynn," said, "I thank you for thinking of us." Said, I didn't have the money to buy my kids presents this year, and this is going to make a happy Christmas. So this is what it's all about. It's all about recognizing our veterans and helping our veterans. Paul mentioned the Honor Guard. Back to our motorcycle, our Mvskoke riders. We would like to have taken them to Washington with us this year, but we didn't have the funding to do it, to be able to go up there. But that's going to be activities they do. We sponsored them, so any kind of activities we have that's related to our veterans, we're going to make sure they're a part of it. But it's Gary, if you ever have an opportunity, and hopefully as it warms up, we'll be doing some funerals, escorts. Please come out and see the escort. It will really make you proud. And as Paul says, I'm with him. I don't know of any other Native tribe that is sponsoring or has a motorcycle honor guard. But
now, will this group be making appearances in things like our annual parades here in Okmulgee? Like the
yes, sir.
Festival,
yes, sir.
And other things like that?
Yes, sir. They also will be providing escort to our chief and second chief, or any dignitaries that they might have in. One thing I'd like to mention Saturday, if I may, real quickly. Paul had mentioned everybody coming out, the community fixing stew and chili for the riders, but they will also have a Santa Claus from 11 to 2 at the Tulsa Indian community, they said. But yes, we will. This group will, and I will always pass to Paul on these decisions because he is the commander of the group. So, but again, that's our plan for them to be involved in all of our Mvskoke Creek activities that they need to be a part of.
Does
He's called me the commander. He's called me the commander just because he needs somebody to blame.
We've heard those. Now, will your Santa speak Creek, by the way?
I'm sorry?
Will your Santa speak Creek?
I'm not sure who they got, but I think he does. If it's who I know it is, yes, he does.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. Now, Paul, it sounds like you're building a motorcycle over there with all that commotion going on. You're a busy man.
Sorry.
Now,
I'm moving around.
That's okay. That's the fun part of live radio. As your presence becomes known here within our tribe and community, what would your goal be? What do you want to see ultimately happen for the Mvskoke riders?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I would love to see this group grow. Bigger isn't always better, but I think as it grows, it will represent what we're doing as something that's very good for the community. Because it is meaningful, and it is a very great thing to do for our warriors, for veterans. Like all tribes, Mvskoke are no different. We have a warrior spirit. We have a warrior history, and we've had those battles throughout our history. Especially when this land became inhabited by the colonizers from other countries, and so we had that history. And it's something that we should never forget. We have to always remember, and what we're doing today is going to be something that our children can be proud of, and it can inspire them and encourage them to be successful, to use that strength of their history to make us stronger as a people going forward in our lives.
Okay, well, Paul, we've got to wrap this up, but if someone was interested in joining your group or even riding with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, my name and number and email is on the flyer. You can go on Facebook to the Mvskoke Riders page, and you'll see the flyer and all the information about the event Saturdays on the flyer. You can call me at 505-379-6921. And the email, just check it out on the Facebook page, and you can send me an email if you like. You can text that number as well.
Mado.
See you, Paul.
Take care.
You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Mado.